What's up, everybody? How are you? Welcome to the Week 16 Lineup Advice Show. It is your Shepard coming into you this Friday evening. I am joined by the one and only SoCal Wolf. He's the wolf of fantasy. Not the wolf of Wall Street, where kind of sort of it comes from. We're going to get to all of your um, Week 16 lineup questions. Maybe we'll do a little recap of the game last night. The tale of two, the tale of two halves for sure. But nevertheless, I know being an LA Chargers fan, Wolfie, you were pleased with that performance. And I also wanted to just remind everybody, it is the semifinals. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, guys. I know that you're pouring in right now. Tommy Goat, how are you? Mad Max Corleone Goat, what's up? We're gonna get to your questions right away. What first, Wolf? How are you? Just want to make sure that just a check in, of course. How are you? How are your fantasy teams? Is there one team that you're like more proud of than the other? Like, are they all treated like they treated equally, right? Like all your children are like your children. Is it? There's got to be like one team that you're probably more pleased with or proud of than maybe another one that's in this round still. Like, so they're both in the semifinals, or all of them are in the semifinals. Well, they're probably all in the semifinals. Is there one that you're more proud of than the other?
I mean, I wish they were all in the semifinals. I mean, I ran into plenty of Josh Allen, plenty of Devontae Adams, plenty of AJ Brown. I mean, I hit the buzzsaw on a few teams, but I mean, for this year, more proud of.
This season,
I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, generally speaking, I have my home leagues, regardless of result, that I don't want to say care more about, but I've been playing with those guys for a long time, right? And I do fantasy baseball with these same guys, so there's some year-long trash talk. So it's nice to win those leagues, right? But this year, I'd say, I got a bye in the Warrior Bowl, which is pretty sweet. I mean, those guys do great work over there. Obviously, the charity leagues and stuff are fun. You get to know a lot of people, get to play with a lot of people that are on the platform, meet new people. That's dwindled down. It's got a little bit of size, so I'm hoping I can squeak out a win in advance, right, and find a way to maybe win that deal there. But that's probably the coolest one right now. I got another auction league with Fantasy Football Universe with Aaron, Fantasy Football Mad Scientist. That auction league's pretty cool. Got some great people in it. I always I like winning an auction league too, because I think auction leagues are a little tougher to build your team. They're more. I like the draft process.
That's one of my mate. That is my main home league, aside from the regular redraft. Yeah, I converted that sucker into an auction keeper in 2017. I think
auction is the way to
go. It's the only real deal true strategy in terms of drafting a team or constructing a team from the preseason forward. But yeah, I get it. I'd love to get into that one next season with you, Wolfie. And nevertheless, I echo many of those sentiments for sure. The Warrior Bowl, interesting enough, I got in the playoffs, 5 seed, I believe, 5 seed playing the 4 playing the 5. Yeah, and I did squeak one out in the quarterfinals, so I am playing in the semis in the Warrior Bowl. I like the Warrior Bowl. I like that format. The charity component is what's there not to like about that. And I think the level of competition, not that other leagues don't have the same, if not higher level of competition, but you got some sharp dudes playing in the Warrior Bowl. There's some sharp dudes. Because a handful of the same guys in the league. I'm in other leagues with, of course, the X Twitter sphere sleeper crossover X Twitter sphere. So Yeah, no, look, the home league is the home league. These are the dudes that you grew up with. And we were having the conversation off camera that you went to elementary, middle school, high school. You went to each other's weddings. So, yeah, I mean, that's my home league. And there are two different types of those. Yeah, I like the Warrior Bowl. I'm going to put that one up there. As far as, that I'd say I'm probably the most proud of that because the way I drafted that team was wacky. It was wacky. All right. Yeah, let's get to these questions, Wolfie. I know that these goats they're a little on edge, a little nervous. Butterflies.
Hey, it's week 16. It's a semifinal, man. One more to get to the ship. I mean, it's
the butterflies. I get it.
A lot of question marks, a lot of calls to make. I mean.
I get it, and the calls, the questions, and then said answers to those questions, they become a little bit not that. Okay, so yeah, it's tougher because the rosters are this good, this late in the game, going up against rosters that are just as good. So if you're playing in the semifinals like you goats are, yeah, your roster from top down, all good players, and all that we're trying to do, what we want to do, is set the best lineup. We're not trying to make a mistake. We're not trying to set the second best lineup. We're not trying to set the medium lineup. We're trying to set the best lineup possible, and I guess we scrutinize a little bit more over it also. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? I mean, we're going to scrutinize over it because there's stakes attached to it now, for sure. You could see the pot. You could see that pot at the end of the rainbow. It's in close sight. You don't need glasses for it. You could see it. Tommy Goat, how are you this evening? You're going to pick two, SoCal. I need a flex, a running back. It's PPR. It's Isaiah Pacheco tomorrow night. It's Kendre Miller Sunday night. Patrick Taylor. It's on ETN. Jalen McMillan. I'm a fan of Jalen McMillan, Tommy. I'm a fan of him. JMO with St. Brown in the lineup. So pick two here. I need a flex and a running back.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's hard for me not to go Kendre Miller over Pacheco there. I mean, if he's the guy, you just got to think they don't have a lot of offense there. You got to think Kendre Miller is going to take that role, get the carries, get the passing work. He's going to get the PPR work, right? Like, the receptions are going to be there. Pacheco, the matchup against Houston isn't great. I think Mahomes is going to play, of course, but that offense isn't exactly, blowing people away. I mean, this could be a spot where maybe Houston plays up, right? I mean, I don't think any of us are impressed by this Chiefs team or Chiefs offense. Pacheco obviously has a good shot at getting in the end zone, I would say, if they're down there, right? But the Chiefs do all kinds of wacky things down there, man. I just think this is a spot where if Kendrick's the guy, I just think he's going to get the volume. I think he's going to get a ton of targets. Like, they're going to have to dump the ball off to Kendre Miller, just like they have to dump the ball off, right? Packers are no slouch of a matchup either.
You got the Dome team playing up in Green Bay on a Sunday night in December. That's something to at least consider, and also to consider. I mean, well, yes, I believe that the volume should be there. I'm not sure how much opportunity is going to be there. And there's also talk that Jamal Williams is ready. Now, I'm not suggesting that we're going to sit Kendre Miller because, again, volume should rule out here. I mean, rule in. Volume should be the catalyst here for Kendre Miller and his explosive potential. But I don't know how much.
A little more potential for the boom with Kendre Miller. Just the way that the Chiefs have played, the Houston defense that they're going up against. I don't know. Pacheco probably has a little safer floor, But I think with the PPR and the fact that the Saints just don't have anybody else, I think that I got Kendrick Miller, man, just right above Pacheco, man. It's close, it's tight. I think I'm going Kendrick Miller, man.
They may not also be ready to let Pacheco loose, right? They see Kareem Hunt still splitting work with Isaiah Pacheco. So I mean, like, I'm not sure if there really is a ramp up type of schedule for this dude. I mean, like, of course he's back, he's playing. We don't know if he's like really fully 100% healthy. So I mean, like, yeah, Tommy, go. We're attempting to talk through this because it's what I was alluding to 5 minutes ago. This is, we're gonna have some really tough calls here. On paper, it's like, yeah, look,
I mean,
man.
I probably would just go Pacheco, Kendrick Miller. Those would probably just be my two guys. I think I have both them. I'm playing both those guys over Taylor and Etienne, and the amount of touches that those guys are going to get in comparison to McMillan or JMO. I mean, if you really think you need another boom and you want to try to just play that hot hand of McMillan, I know Otten has come up kind of banged up on the report as well, right? So maybe McMillan's able to have one of those big games. I mean, if you want to ride the hot hand of McMillan, that's cool. He's getting some targets. But again, Pacheco's probably going to touch the ball twice as many times as Jalen McMillan will. And it's just hard for me, man, to pick against a guy that's going to get the ball, and he's going to get the opportunity. Pacheco and Miller are going to have the ball the most. I think those are the two plays. But like I said, if you want to go upside and you don't want to go with JMO because of Sam Brown, hey, chase the big spike in McMillan and hope that he gets that big game again. But I think you're going to get a lot of running the ball against Dallas. I know Chuba struggled a little bit that last week. That game got away from Carolina. I don't think Tampa has that issue. So we should see plenty of White, plenty of Bucky. I mean, how many chances does McMillan really have an opportunity to get 2 touchdowns? I mean, if he has 3 catches with 2 touchdowns, so be it. I got to live with that. But I'm playing Pacheco.
No. I don't think that's there for Jalen McMillan. I think as a newfound, right? Newfound wide receiver 2, the dude that they had drafted coming on late. Yes, he has scored in his last 2. But I don't think he's going to. I think that's also capped. I think he's also capped to about 5 to 6 catches. He's capped to maybe around 100 yards, and if he scores, then that's the gravy. That's the real gravy. I'm with you though. I'm with you. I wouldn't necessarily have the. I don't have an issue starting both of the running backs in that situation, Tommy. And then the third would be, if not both those running backs, then yeah, I'm going to go with Jalen McMillan also, because again, he is obviously a little touchdown dependent as a wide receiver 2 on that team, but he is. You like the way he's playing right now. He's clearly their wide receiver 2. Baker's building a rapport with him. You still got a Hall of Famer though opposite him. So I mean that's why I kind of feel like Jalen McMillan is still just going to be capped to a certain extent. And how we do it?
I would honestly I might even play Etienne over McMillan again. He came back last week with 14 carries, 4 catches. I mean, they're playing the Raiders. The matchup is nice. They're obviously not going to completely go away from Etienne. Like, I think I would probably have him ranked 3rd out of that group too. So, but yeah, I'm going Miller and Pacheco, dude.
What are you doing over here with the tight ends? Brenton Strange, who saw about 100 targets last week. Hawkinson, I'm not a fan of, or nor am I feeling him, I should say, quote unquote. I'm not getting the Hawkinson vibes with the emergence of Jordan Addison alongside of JJ. And then other leagues. So of course Tommy Goat's in 2 semifinals. Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me there. Strange or Tucker Craycraft. and these are both PPR. I'm going to do Brenton Strange, and then I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do Brenton Strange again. Brenton Strange being like,
yeah, I'm going to do Brenton Strange over Kraft. I think that's the way to go. The other one's a little tougher for me. I mean, Hawkinson is just missing that touchdown. I mean, he's getting involved. I mean, he's like 5 for 55, like guaranteed, so I like Hawkinson, man. It's a little harder for me to sit Hawkinson than it is to sit Kraft in this one. But I mean, the targets, man, the targets that Strange saw, the matchup against the Raiders, the middle of the field is going to be there. Mac Jones is playing with some confidence. I mean, there should be zero reason for him, not to get. There should be no reason for him not to get a ton of targets, right? I mean, it's BTJ and it's Strange. I mean,
it's
crazy that Ingram didn't do anything the week or two before, but apparently, I guess they've kind of found something cooking a little more right now.
Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones, playing with a degree of confidence for sure. I mean, all this dude knows is low leverage situations where him and his teams are always in the toilet at this time of year, which lends to the reason why he is a backup quarterback. Playing the Raiders, who, for all intents and purposes, are probably going to, unspokenly lay down in this game. But the Jacksonville Jaguars would want to lay down in this game too. Besides BTJ, I think that they've got somebody here and that could really, help Mac Jones or connect with Mac Jones in terms of moving the ball to an extent. So Tucker Kraft again, good tight end. In a situation where there's a lot of mouths to feed, that's my rational. That's why I would go with Brenton Strange again. A lot of pass volume, no one else really to throw the ball to other than, again, Brian Thomas Jr. So that's it, Tommy Goat. Can't wait to hear about the championships that we're headed to. Mad Max Corleone, man, you don't really need help, Max Corleone. You really don't. I mean, I get that we all want to look to make improvements to the teams. We want to seek out as many resources as possible because that's what makes you a GOAT, makes all of us a GOAT. Nevertheless, we're here for you. Emil Goat lost Monty. That sucks. Speaking of Jamal Williams, you hear that there's like a petition or something along those lines, like they want Jamal Williams to be released from the Saints, so then the Lions could then re-sign him, sign him back to Detroit, take on the 2022 role that he had with the team. Now that Monty's out, I think that's real also. I don't think this is made up. I think there is something along those lines. I read something like that. Like they want Jamal Williams to be released. Must be Lions fans. This is where it's coming from. Lost Monty.
They need somebody there, right? I mean, there was talk they might get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That didn't happen, So I mean, they could fill that spot there. I mean, we shall see. Fill one flex.
Jalen Cocaine. Hollywood, Amir Abdullah, or Elijah Moore. Wow.
I mean, I can't play Elijah Moore with DTR at quarterback. That's like just that can't happen for me. Hollywood Brown, first action. Who I don't see him being heavily involved in the game.
Me neither.
I just maybe he gets a shot, and capitalizes on it, but I'm not going to take that risk. I don't think he's going to be a focal point, of the offense. So we're looking at Coker and we're looking at Abdullah, right? So I think I'm probably leaning Abdullah. He's going to, again, back to the work. He's going to get the PPR work. Like, I mean, do you trust Jalen Coker? I mean,
Oh, do I trust him? I mean, I trust him as much as I trust Amir Abdullah. I mean, so a couple of things. A, Xavier Legette's not going to play in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Coker was limited yesterday. I don't know if he practiced today.
So there is that. B, he's been on the field for the majority of their snaps the last few contests, including that big 85-yard touchdown or 75-yard touchdown, whatever that big play was for Jalen Coker. Look, I mean, if again, it kind of goes back to the Brenton Strange. So, like, if there's another steady Eddie in the offense to help out or to support the efforts in the passing game, I think it would be Jalen Coker. But that is also like, okay, so Amir Abdullah also operates in the same fashion, right? Amir Abdullah, Aiden O'Connell is, well, actually, yeah. So there is a couple more mouths to feed in the Raiders offense than there would be in the Panthers offense, the way I'm looking at it. What about Alexander Madison's expected to play in this game, isn't he?
I mean,
there's no injury. Yeah. I mean, but they're basically they're both the same player almost. I would honestly, I think I would lean Jalen Coker.
It's tough. I mean, I think you're gonna see a lot of Chuba against Arizona. I think they're gonna still try to run the football. I mean, Arizona's been decent. They're top 10 against wide receivers and, schedule adjusted points allowed in fantasy. So they aren't, exactly just getting burned. The Jaguars, on the other hand, give up a lot of points to the running back position and they give up a lot of passing work, So I feel like that's the matchup for the Raiders, and that's Abdullah's thing. I'm not saying he gets 7 targets and 7 catches like he did.
I think you probably have something safe there with Amir Abdullah. So if you want the safe play, Emil Goat, in your flex, it would be Amir Abdullah. If you're looking for a home run, boom, rather than bust, the Goats don't bust, I think I would go with Coker. If you want that safe 10, 12, 13-point PPR game, I think you could probably get that out of Amir Abdullah. I think you could get greater than that, potentially, with Jalen Coker. If not, it's going to be worse than that with Jalen Coker. So, yeah, that's how I would rationalize it, right? Yeah, I mean, does that make sense to you? A safer play with Amir Abdullah?
Yeah, I think, Amir is going to get his 4 or 5 targets for sure. He's not really going to get many carries, but I think, if you get 4 catches for 30 yards, you're trying for the, you're not going to probably get a lot from either guy. I mean, unless one of them finds the end zone. That's the tough part there, and
Carolina.
I would just hope that the Raiders end up that, Abdullah does get another 6 or 7 catches. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm just playing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with it. Those are the 2 right there.
I mean, Cardinals have given up 11 touchdowns on the year to the wide receiver position. That's, tied for, top 5. Jaguars giving up the second most yards to running backs in the air. I mean, it looks like the Jags can score the football too, right? Like, they've been able to put up some points the last couple of weeks. And so if they can score the football and the Raiders need to throw the football, Abdullah should be out there. That's a tough call, man.
Amir Abdullah. Emil, you made it with Amir Abdullah. Well, I don't
like saying that, but
you picked up Amir Abdullah probably a few weeks ago. So you made the boss goat move by adding him for whatever subtraction that you needed to do at the time. And now, we get it. So let's leave it there. Let's leave it at Amir Abdullah is going to give you at least a safer play of around 12 PPR. Let's just call it that. Jalen Cocaine. Not the cocaine bear, but Jalen Cocaine. It's a boom or bust play. There's a lot of upside there, but if he doesn't score, as SoCal is alluding to, it could be a clunker for you. It could be a clunker. Mr. Bakes Goat, what are you baking for us tonight, Goat? Baking up a championship is what he's baking.
Championship pie.
I know that's what he's baking up. Tommy going with another semifinal championship team, the Cheetah. I can't get. He's been questionable for weeks. He hasn't played well in weeks either. I'm not sure if it's his wrist or not. I mean, I was asking myself that question, SoCal. I was asking, like, okay, so what the hell does a wrist have to do with anything besides, like, okay, like perhaps like catching the ball? And then I heard from, I believe it was Robert Turpin on FFT, which is a former running back, but nevertheless, a former pro said it was. Oh, I know who it was. It was Deepak Chona, the one of the fantasy docs. Said when he needs to push off at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he had 2 good weeks before last week. I mean, he had 14 targets, 10 catches, 9 targets, 6 catches, 83 yards, 115 yards. I mean, that Dolphins offense that we were all excited about last week just, absolutely crapped the bed, and Waddle does nothing and then gets hurt and leaves the game, and they, can't do anything offensively. But Hill did practice in full yesterday. I don't know I don't think that got worse today. I haven't seen today's practice reports, but
I wouldn't expect Tyreek Hill to miss this game.
No, and I think it's unfortunate without, if Waddle's not playing. I don't know if that helps or hurts Hill. It's just more easier to focus on, but he could be hyper targeted. But the 2 weeks he had before, the Niners defense isn't anything to write home about. They give up plenty to the receivers. I think you're just rolling with Tyreek. You're just rolling with Hill and hoping you get a Tyreek Hill game.
He did well against the Jets, who they happen to have a decent secondary or above decent secondary, so he did well against them. He didn't do too bad against the Packers in Green Bay. In the game before that, home, the Patriots, that was a clunker. Raiders, Week 11, that wasn't a bad game. So, yeah, it hasn't been a Tyreek Cheetah type of season. Nor did I expect it to be a Tyreek Cheetah season either. I wasn't accounting for injury to a wrist or a police incident months ago. Nevertheless, this has not been an overall hasn't been a good season for Tyreek Hill coming off of last year. Tommy Gold, I would not expect him to miss this contest. Of course, you're going to watch the injury report tomorrow, right? The Dolphins will play on Sunday. And you're rolling with him, man. You're rolling with him. Temper the expectations, if anything. I would temper the expectations more, not necessarily. Well, they're tied together. They're connected. You've got Tua, who played shitty last week. So that affects all of them. I would temper the expectation of that. I heard another crazy little tidbit here. Quarterbacks out of the Mike Shanahan tree, out of the Mike Shanahan system, quarterbacks don't typically fare well playing Mike Shanahan. If these head coaches have come from, his head coaching tree. I'm not sure what the numbers are exactly because I didn't hear the numbers exactly. Like, it's not like it's they're 25 and 30, but they typically don't fare well going up against Mike Shanahan. So that would include Tua Tagovailoa tomorrow, Sunday rather. For some reason, I'm thinking that it's Saturday. It's not. But that means we have 2 awesome games tomorrow to watch. We got the Chiefs and the Texans, and we got the Steelers and the Ravens. Who do you like in the Steelers and the Ravens? The Steelers usually own the Ravens. I don't think that's going to be the case tomorrow for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, still no Pickens. That doesn't help, you know. I mean, Baltimore. I mean, they both need to win this football game. I mean, I think, yeah, I probably lean Baltimore. I think they just have the offensive firepower, you know, to probably do a little bit more there. But you can't underestimate Mike Tomlin.
No, I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't necessarily. I'm not underestimating Tomlin.
Lamar hasn't played well against Pittsburgh, but you know, I saw this is the first time that Lamar is going to play at home against the Steelers in front of fans. He's never played the Steelers at home with fans. Whether it was due to injury, whether he was a rookie not playing, the COVID year.
I was about to say a couple of years ago.
All those different things. It just never worked out. So, I mean, he's going to have the fans behind him at home. Maybe it's the game Lamar doesn't quite struggle as much, you know. But, yeah, you just wonder what Pittsburgh is going to do offensively. You know, can they keep pace? I mean, Pittsburgh's defense is okay, right? It's good. It's not. I mean, there aren't many defenses this year that are like, oh, watch out for that defense. I mean, the NFL is about offense, you know, clearly. And Baltimore can put up points. So I think maybe we get a Justin Tucker reemergence. Ugly AFC North. Dudes let everybody down. I got a weird feeling Justin Tucker has something to say for some kickers this week. I'm going to just throw that out there real quick. If you're picking up a kicker or you still need a kicker and Justin Tucker's out there, roll the dice on the Hall of Famer. It's AFC North. You could see a lot of field goals, man. We know it's been the case before. I wouldn't be surprised to see him making a difference.
Weather won't affect him. Him, Harrison Butker, Chris Boswell in that same game. These dudes are weathered. They're weathered field goal kickers. Emil Gold. I have a
feeling that Tucker may have something to say these last couple of weeks, and it would just be fitting for the disappointment he's been in fantasy, you know. And he's only been disappointing because he's been so good for so long. Really, you know. I mean, he's been so good and so almost perfect that eventually was bound to have a year that wasn't that great. But, yeah, Muth or Strange, huh?
Oh, no, George Pickens.
Great matchup with Baltimore. I mean,
might as well go back to the Muth without George Pickens. He scored the last 2 out of 3 games, I believe. It's not going to get you a ton of receptions. It's not going to get you a ton of yards, but I mean, like, he's definitely targeted in the red zone. We're going to want that 6. We want the 6. I don't know if Brenton Strange is going to get a 6. I think Brenton Strange is going to make up for it in between the 20s, catching a lot of balls, a lot of errant throws, and then you're hoping that just based on all that volume, that he'll come down.
If you're playing Strange over Hawkinson, I think you're playing Strange over Freiermuth. I know the matchups there. Baltimore is a good matchup for tight ends. Maybe Pittsburgh decides to finally really hyper target Freiermuth, but they haven't yet. I mean, he had 6 targets last week, which actually led the team. He's only had 6 or more targets twice on the season. And the reason that we're all into Strange is the targets, right? We expect we're chasing that game of targets. So it's like if you're in on Strange over Hawkinson, I think you're in on him over Freiermuth too.
There's something a little bit different there for me. I mean, it's that they've targeted Muth now several times, and he's come down with the touchdowns in the end zone for touchdowns.
Yeah, but we know how sustainable is scoring a touchdown every single week.
It's not.
You know, three weeks in a row, 3 touchdowns on 6 targets, 3 targets, 7 targets. That's what I do like. He had 7, and he had 6. You know, and in between that, he had 3. You know, I mean, 68 yards, 48 yards, 22. So, I mean, if he doesn't score a touchdown, you're looking at, 4 for 45, 4 for 50, same kind of thing that I think, Hawkinson's guaranteed to get you. You think Strange should get you that. Yeah, I mean, if you think Freiermuth's going to find the end zone again, then roll Freiermuth. But I think from what we saw, we should expect Strange to see more targets than Freiermuth, right?
Yes. Yes, for sure.
It's hard. It's hard for me. I love the Muth, man. And it's hard
Plus,
for me to say Brenton Strange. I don't want Brenton Strange to have this big week and we all chase the targets, and then this week he just lets everybody down, right? I mean,
which is absolutely in the range.
It's
of
very
outcomes.
Likely. Yes, I mean, Evan Ingram before he got hurt did nothing in that game, which was a good matchup, right? And so all of a sudden Brenton Strange comes on the scene and has no problem. Like, it would not be surprising to me. So, but I'll roll with Strange. I mean, I'll take my chances on Strange in that offense.
We got Brenton Strange a couple of spots ahead of the Muth, for what it's worth. And yeah, we are expecting to see more of the volume, more of the passing volume go his way. I would still caution, temper the expectations for both. They're both tight ends. They're both unpredictable. It's an unpredictable situation for you.
I'd like to see Pittsburgh target Freiermuth a ton, but the other part too is
Calvin Austin. That's the other part.
Tight ends have been good against Baltimore, but Pittsburgh doesn't have another weapon, which means maybe Baltimore can play a little better defense against the tight end because there's nobody else out there, right? Like, you need these other receivers that stretch the field that Baltimore can't stop. And then when they're trying to stop those guys, it just opens up the middle of the field for the tight end. I don't know if Pittsburgh is going to be able to do that, They've done okay. I mean, they were doing okay last week against a good Philly defense. I mean, Najee fumbled, and that changed the complexion of that game. But they had 14 at that point, or I think 13 or 14, right? And so they weren't scoring a ton. Yeah, you think Freiermuth finds the end zone again? Go for it. I mean, I think Strange should have as good of a chance to get in there. So I'm going to go Strange there.
For sure. Happy holidays to you, Papa Izzy Goat. Kendre or Patrick Taylor?
So we talked about this kind of in that first question. I mean, Patrick Taylor wasn't even an option. He was behind Kendre, Pacheco, and Etienne on that list.
How about that list? How about the fact that he's also he's RB5 on the 49ers list this season?
And I know he might get a good amount of volume, but I don't see Patrick Taylor. These other guys that have had success in San Francisco, those are Shanahan guys. I know they brought in Taylor, but they didn't draft Taylor. They didn't bring him in young. He was brought in as a massive depth piece, and now they're forced to use him. Where everybody else that Shanahan's had, Mitchell, even Breida, Mostert, those were his guys. Garendo, those were his guys that fit the Niners really well.
Mitchell.
I don't really see that with Patrick Taylor. He'd be the first Niner running back in the last 6 years to not have success at the end of the year in fantasy. They've all dominated: Breida, Mostert, Mitchell, of course, McCaffrey, Jordan Mason. Every guy has done it. I don't put Taylor in that group, and maybe he proves me wrong, but I'm going to take I think Kendre Miller's a good player, man. He's been hurt. He was put in the doghouse. I think this kid's going to get an opportunity to show what he can do, and I think he's going to have a couple big plays, man. I'm rolling Kendre.
I would go with Kendre here too, Papa Izzy.
Patrick Taylor and Brenton Strange and Amir Abdullah. That's where we're at, baby. That's where.
Well, the Patrick Taylor reasoning is, was just pointed out. I mean, look at how decimated that 49ers backfield has gotten this season. Where
and
we're actually on the fifth running back.
You could still see Debo involved more. I know Debo's let everybody down, but the Niners, I don't think, go away from him. He's going to get some carries. They might gimmick him in the red zone. They're going to target, obviously, Jennings and Kittle. Purdy can run it in. I don't think it's the Patrick Taylor show it was the Garendo show.
I don't see that ladder happening, Purdy.
No, but he can run it in. All I'm saying is, even down in the red zone, I don't think it's a guarantee that Taylor gets the work. I think that you could see Debo down there. You could see, use check. You could see, I mean, I don't think there's a guarantee there.
I'm not. I'd rather go with the dude that was drafted last season in the 3rd round, who just hasn't gotten a great amount of opportunity based on A, the head coach, and B, because, a little bit of injury. Nevertheless, I'll go with the dude that's 24 years old at this time versus kind of sort of like just a career backup to date who's now thrusted into a starting position because 4 other dudes are injured. 4. Right? I mean, like Patrick Taylor is the 5th man up at this time. I'm sorry. If Patrick Taylor winds up having 5 yards per attempt on Sunday for 100 yards, maybe a touchdown, then we will know for sure. It does not matter who the running back is in that system. Then we'll know for sure. But I'm willing to bank on there's something about you being an RB5 now taking on this role. I'm sorry. Hey guys, if you are brand new to this channel at this time, week 16A, I want to wish you the best of success this weekend. You're here, you're a GOAT. There's that. B, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. That's the best thing you could do for us this holiday season. Win. B, subscribe.
There it is.
That's it. That's all.
That's all. Next one. Kendra Miller, it is.
That's all I want for the GOATs. For you guys to win and for you to subscribe. That's all I'll do. That's all I care about. That's not true. Nevertheless, Chris, GOAT, Flex 2 in the PPR, Keenan Allen, Jalen McMillan, Khalil Shakir, DK, and if Pollard is out, start Spears or Ford. Flex 2 in the PPR. Well, I would flex. I mean, you could flex Keenan Allen. I mean, that's pretty decent flex. It's good flex. Khalil Shakir is he's really the wide receiver on the Bills that's been kind of consistent in terms of his snaps, in terms of his playing time, and the targets. But as we all know, that the targets is the tricky part here with Khalil Shakir and the Bills in general. You like the player, but it's like they're kind of they're funky, the Bills. It's kind of like they're making everybody guess who the dude is going to be. 2 weeks ago, it's Amari Cooper with all the targets. Last week, Amari Cooper had barely any targets.
Yeah, I think you're playing Shakir. He's going to get you, 6+ targets. Like, even if Cooper's involved, like Shakir is Allen's guy. And again, they'll use him gimmicky as well, So I think Shakir's in there, and then it's close for DK and Keenan. It's like, part of me, I want to say DK because it's like we know the talent he can be, but I mean, Keenan, wide receiver 9, wide receiver 5, wide receiver 15, 3 out of the last 4 weeks. Caleb is targeting this man, and he should have had a better night last week. Caleb missed him on a touchdown, wide open. I mean, he could have been wide receiver probably 5 again on the week had Caleb connected on that.
Well, Keenan scored. Didn't Keenan score?
He did score. He should have had 2 touchdowns. He was wide open for a 30-yard touchdown, and Caleb missed him.
Caleb has that. Let's call it what it is. Caleb Williams hasn't played that god awful. It's just
the line again is not good, but he holds on to the ball a little too long. He's missing some throws. I think he's workable though. He's not the kind of guy you watch and you're like, oh, this can't have it. I think Caleb has what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. It's just like most guys, they need to be developed. It just how it goes. And last week he was a little hesitant to run. I think he's still like, should I run? Should I not? Do I stay in the pocket? He's still figuring out the game. If he can figure that out, learn when to run, make the make the throws a little sooner. I think you could see some growth from him, and maybe he might not learn those things, but I think he's shown enough to be encouraged that he can be your starting quarterback. But they got to go beef up that line. They got enough playmakers there. The defense they got to go O-line and defense and get a few more guys around him and take advantage of that 5-year contract on a rookie deal, right? Or it's going to be the same thing. 3-4 years in, we suck, and let's move on to another quarterback. So we'll see if the Bears can figure that out. I'm going Shakir, and I'm going DK or Keenan. I'm okay with playing Keenan if you just can live with DK on your bench. I think DK is the rising star. It's one of those scenarios for me personally. If this is my team, it's really hard for me to have DK on my bench and finally have that game. But they're not using him, and Keenan's been so involved. And let's not forget what this man was doing last year. So look, Keenan's been doing this for his whole career. Plus, he was a monster last year, and he's been a monster as of late. I think you can easily make the case that Keenan's the right call over DK, and I think they're right here, right neck and neck in those rankings for me personally. And if you're okay with DK on your bench, I go Keenan and Shakir.
I think I would take Keenan. I would take Keenan. I would take Shakir. I do have that. I do have kind of that trepidation also, shit, man, am I really doing this? Are we really going to sit DK in the semifinals and watch him now have the game that we finally were expecting, or the game that, we've been waiting for? Yeah, I get that. But right now we're going to have to go with the two. Well, we're going to have to go with the players that have been A, playing the best, B, are more probable to have better production. So I want to go with Shakir because we've got the quarterback there. We're going to go with Keenan because we have his experience, we have the production, and all the additional reasons that were pointed out based on Caleb and the Bears, the matchup against the Lions.
The only reason you're playing DK is if you're the kind of person that just can't live with what we're saying, that he could give us that DK game. But I think everything else says that you play Keenan, and he's seen 8 or more targets, in 5 straight games.
He's getting the targets. He's getting it.
Yeah, there's no reason he doesn't see at least 8 targets in this game. I mean,
then take one of the running backs, Wolf.
If Pollard is out,
if Pollard is out, that seems to be easy for me. It would be Tajay Spears over Ford. Although
exciting, yeah. If he's by himself in that backfield with what we've seen him do when he's got the opportunity, I'm playing Spears.
We like Jarius Jerome Ford. We do. I could count on one hand in the last 2 years of the top 12 finishes that he's had at RB. But let me repeat that. That's on one hand, 2 top 12 finishes last season without Nick Chubb, and 2 top 12 finishes this season with no Nick Chubb.
And I'd like him a lot better if Jameis Winston was the quarterback, because DTR does not throw the football, has not given us a reason to think that he can put up points, and that's going to make it harder to run the football and use Jerome Form. I think he's going to get some catches too out of the backfield, but
yeah, and he does have an explosive capability, potential. He does, because I've seen it. That's how I know he has it, and as a pass catcher as well. Yeah, but there's a little. Tajay Spears seems to take the word safer out of context, because he has that explosive playmaking ability as well. But I kind of feel like when he is the lone wolf in the backfield for the Titans, he is the lone wolf. But Chris, if Tony the Tiger plays, then the decision becomes easier. It's Jerome Ford there. I wish you much luck, my friend. Mad Max Corleone. It's ETN very well. ETN versus Ford. There's a lot to like about Jerome Ford. There is. But he's up and down. He's not consistent. He does offer us the pass catching ability, explosive play making ability that way. And we know what ETN is also. He's a versatile two-way back. I think this one's almost like a coin flip too. ETN, as much as ETN. We're actually going to lump ETN with Jerome Ford in a coin flip. You got Tank Bigsby that's still playing there. But I'm not necessarily concerned with Dante Foreman taking reps away from Jerome Ford. Are you?
I mean, Jerome Ford's going to have that backfield. I mean, I don't think we're even worried about that part right there. I mean, it's going to be his backfield. He's going to have he's going to get the work. He's going to get some passing work. And you figure that Cleveland should be down in this game too, right? Cincinnati's offense has been just insane, and there's no reason it should stop here, which means, I mean, why wouldn't we see a ton of dump offs, to Jerome Ford? I mean, that should help his value a little bit. And I think, like I said, you got Tank Bigsby still over there. 11 carries last week, still involved. And on the flip side of that, is Jacksonville going to be leading this game? Will we maybe see a little more Bigsby if they're ahead because they like him a little better as a runner? If that's true, I don't know if that's true. I think a lot of Bigsby had to do with ETN's health, but I look at Bigsby. If I'm splitting those two running backs up as a group, Bigsby's the early down back and ETN's the pass catching back. If we're looking at them as that kind of duo, and so if they're winning the game, are we going to see more Bigsby to run the clock out? To slow that game down, as opposed to needing to score and seeing ETN out there. There's also a world where again they play really well and they also give up a ton of points, and Bigsby and ETN both have double-digit carries again, and ETN has some targets. But the fact that there's a guy with ETN that's probably going to see 10 carries as well, I'm going Jerome Ford.
I think that kind of like that makes the decision for me as well.
And DTR should be dumping it off to Ford all day long. I mean, hopefully that's what he does if you're playing Ford. So
imagine DTR starts this game and only makes it about a quarter and a half, and Jameson.
What a disaster to take Jameis Winston out in a matchup with the Bengals in the semifinals where we could have got a shootout, right? A shootout in the semifinal with Winston, with Njoku, with Judy, with all the Bengals, and now we get DTR, who once threw the ball 43 times and had 180 yards. I mean, why, Cleveland? Why do this to us?
You know what that sounds like, actually? That sounds like Javonte Williams yesterday for a running back. Like 12 targets, 7 catches, and I think he ran from like one end of this room and made it to the other end of this room for 20 yards.
Last night, man. How about 19 or 20 different guys catching a pass in that game? Burton scoring a touchdown. Hassan Haskins not playing the entire game, coming out and getting the game sealer. That game last night helped nobody. In the words of Siegel, that helps nobody.
That helped nobody.
It was a good game. We got a good Thursday night football game. We got
no one started Gus Bus yesterday.
No, I mean, and I saw people talking about. I saw some people giving like Matthew Berry some hate for saying he wouldn't play Gus, and like the response was perfect. And this is back to what it's about. If you look at the box score, it's easy to hate on somebody saying something. Gus was averaging 2 yards a carry. He had 13 carries for 23 yards outside of the one he ended up breaking. But you were never playing Gus last night. Like, even in a deeper league, like you just had zero reason to play him.
Nobody played. I think he may have started like 2%.
No,
and who knows if that 2% what of that number were like dead leagues.
Yeah, you weren't playing. You weren't playing Gus. You obviously weren't playing Burton. You couldn't trust Javonte or Estime. You were playing Cortland Sutton. You were playing Ladd McConkey. You couldn't even really trust Stone Smart because they activated Hayden Hurst. I mean, who got involved too, right? So you probably weren't playing QJ unless you really had to against that Denver defense. And you really weren't playing Herbert or really probably even Nix in a one quarterback league. You weren't trusting Nix in that game. Superflex, you're probably playing Herbert Nix, but for the most part in a regular one QB league, you were playing Sutton and McConkey, and that was probably it.
There may have been a little Bo Nix in a one QB.
A little bit, but coming off that three interception game, like I don't know, man. I mean, I think depends on who your other options were, but and he was okay in the first half, but
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on Javonte Williams.
Javonte's the man, baby.
Let's talk. We should talk about Javonte some other time, like in the offseason. Like
Javonte,
you could write a whole textbook on what happened to this guy.
We love Javonte is here.
Tyler Goat, you're a freaking goat.
So
the semifinals is upon us, Tyler Goat.
A lot of Miller and Pacheco.
Well, rightfully so. Because look, we tell the goats what to do on Tuesdays. How do we advise them on what to do in terms of who to add, who to drop, in kind of sort of like a pecking order, because you can't get everyone. Yeah, I mean, look, man, Tyler Goat went out and got Kendra Miller because I don't think he's an Alvin Kamara owner. I don't even think so. Maybe on this team he's an Alvin Kamara owner. Nevertheless, we were saying as we got closer and closer to this time, you might as well just stash. You might as well add this cuff, whether you have him or not. Look at what happened. Nevertheless, I think we're gonna go with Kendra. I know that the Wolf SoCal is more excited about it than I am, just because it's a tough spot for him to make his starting debut or his second starting debut. It's a tough spot, but Pacheco's not going to make me sleep better at night either. I can tell you that much. Jaden Reed, holy smokes. Tyler, so we made it with Jaden Reed last week. I know last week this goat asked about Jaden Reed or Jacoby Myers, going into the final game. It's a tough call. Another tough call. I think we went with I think I went with Jaden Reed. Nevertheless, let's go with Kendra. If this is like an RB3 or a flex RB, we're gonna hope for the volume to get us to at least 12 points here. It's not fantastic. It's not sexy. Isaiah Pacheco is still sharing it with Kareem Hunt. And the Texans may look to just put the clamps down on the running game. That's yeah.
Yeah, it's Kendra, and then it's Jacoby for me. I don't even think I'm not even thinking twice about it.
Because here's the thing, right? They know that Pat has a bad ankle. So if you're a quarterback with a bad ankle, you're going to want to hand the ball off. That's like the first thing to do. Get the ball out of his hand. They should be all over that. The Texans, they should be theoretically all over that. Let's go with Kendra in Green Bay, Tyler Goat. We're gonna roll the dice. Goat. We're gonna roll the dice here. That ain't an easy call either. That's right. So Monday night, not Sunday night. Monday night.
Yeah.
Who the hell's playing Sunday night then? I'm getting all my nights and my days mixed up. Sunday night
is Cowboys Buccaneers.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got that doozy.
And then then he asked Jaden Reed or Jacoby Myers was the second part of that question.
So yeah. So I was kind of right, wasn't I? Jaden Reed.
It's Jacoby Myers.
Jaden Reed or Jacoby Myers. We had that one. I knew it.
Yeah, it's Jacoby Myers for me. I mean, he still had 9 targets last week, 5 for 59, where he had like nothing in the beginning of the game. I think O'Connell's back, which is probably even better for him. Jacksonville is a feast of a matchup. This dude has had like 40 targets the last 4 games. And quietly having a good year. I'm going Jacoby Myers.
Would that change it now that Kate Otten is ruled out? Kate Otten's out.
Well, it's Jaden Reed. So it doesn't matter. Kate Otten being out doesn't matter for Jaden Reed.
Yeah, so Tyler's just telling us that Tyler Otten's out.
He was saying that. He was saying that when we were talking about McMillan, but
okay.
In the questions that we've had for McMillan, it doesn't change anything, but it might change me.
It doesn't change anything because he's already unseated Cade Otten the last few weeks. Well, yeah. Cade Otten he's already taken the back seat, so no, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
Mr. Magic Goat. What's up, my friend? Mad Max coming in hot. Would you do Adam Thielen? TK.
Has Coker, so if Coker's been ruled out, I know we talked about him being questionable with that quad.
Yeah, well, that takes care of that now. I was all ready for Jalen Cocaine, and now he's ruled out. Somebody get this.
There you go. I mean, I went the other way on that question anyway, but that definitely helps. But yeah, I mean, a quad or a hammy, man, for a wide receiver is never a good injury. So
somebody get this man some more cocaine.
Yeah, that might help. He might forget about it. He might forget all about his quad receptor.
Jalen Waddle is doubtful. I got Tony Pollard is questionable. I'm reading off my phone, guys, in case you haven't, in case you can't see that. I don't have any Jalen Coker here, but I mean, I trust you.
Yeah. So where are you going here? I mean, are you? I mean, they are just not targeting DK Metcalf, and Thielen is a target monster for Bryce Young, man.
Is today the 20th? Today's the 20th. I've got Coker listed as questionable right now. He's on the injury report questionable, and that just throws a wrench into it. Quadriceps, if that makes a difference. Quadriceps. No Coker, no Leggett. I would go. Look, I think Adam Thielen's a pretty solid play, even with cocaine. I know Leggett's been ruled out.
I don't know if it changes for me with either them in or out. I don't think that. My thing with Thielen is just the fact that, like, this dude, if he's on the field healthy, Bryce Young throws him the football, right? He led him in targets again last week. He's had, 7, 10, 11. And Metcalf, again, man, I'm waiting for the DK game, but they keep using him less and less. I mean, and so it's like, are they going to switch that up? If it's me and I'm in that Seattle room, that office, one of these coaches, I'm saying we need to get DK Metcalf the ball. And I'm waiting for that week because I think you're a better football team. I love JSN. I've loved him since he came out. I loved him last year when everybody was, let's get rid of him in October, November. No, right? I was hold or buy that dude low. And hopefully you did because he's killing it. But not at the expense of DK just being shut out. He is too damn good. But for where we're at, back to what we're seeing is telling me that I can probably trust Adam Thielen more. Although, again, there's no shock if Metcalf comes out and has a big game because we know what he's capable of. But
Mad Max has just been trying to get DK to line up.
As long as you're good with, if you understand that, like I said, Thielen's looking at 7 to 9 targets probably. He catches most of his targets. That game should be pretty high scoring. Arizona should be able to score the football. You know what I mean? I expect a lot of points there. And so, if you understand that, you live with the consequences. I'm good with Thielen here. But I'll never really argue you playing Metcalf in really any situation. Because I get it. We took Metcalf to be that guy. I get it.
I think we're going to see Thielen. I don't know if he's going to have one of these classic 8 catches for 147, but I could see him. I could see him pacing the team in receptions. I could see him getting in the end zone for the lone Bryce Young touchdown, along with Chuba, of course. Let's go, Mad Max. Let's go, Mad Max. Corleone and Mr. Magic Goat. Darnold in that weather, or Stafford and Hawk. Oh, strange. Well, I got news for you, Mr. Magic Goat. Matt Stafford's got shitty weather coming up, too. Got a dome team from the West Coast coming all the way across to play at MetLife Stadium in the middle of December. That's not a good spot for Matt Stafford. I'm sorry. And
I'm playing Darnold.
If that does sound a little bit of like the homer in me, I guess I'll own that because I know the environment here. That's why. And then factor in the rest of it. So yeah, I mean those two teams aren't familiar with one another at all. Out of conference, well out of geography. It's not a good spot for Matt Stafford. I would be downgrading Cooper Kupp big time. Can't get any worse than last week, but I'd still be downgrading him from his baseline. Kyron Williams is a slight downgrade in that game, and Puka's a little bit of a downgrade, and Stafford is big downgrade. I would take Darnold for sure, and Hawkinson or Brenton Strange. We're on a Brenton Strange. Yeah, we've seen stranger things, Mr. Magic. Mr. Magic Goat. It's a strange week 16.
Do you want to go with the safe 5 for 55 from Hawkinson, or do you want to go chase the targets and hope you get another strange monster game? I think that's the question on those two guys, because I think you're getting 5 and 50 from TJ Hawkinson. Is there a world where Brenton Strange just disappears? That's the one.
Also, do you want to put that egg into the Sam Darnold basket as well?
Yeah, if you like that stack, I mean, I'll tell you this much: TJ Hawkinson is due to find the end zone. Will he do it this week? We shall see. But they tried to at the end of last week. They want to get that man a touchdown. They ran a specific play to him in the red zone, in the end zone, and it just was covered, So I think that I know we're not talking betting on here, but you know me, Wolfie.
We talk betting.
I'm a degenerate. So I'm going to say, TJ Hawkinson scoring a touchdown this week. So I will add that in. This is the week he gets it. So I see 5 for 55 and a touchdown. That's a 16-point game. And it kind of goes back to the DK theory too, except Hawkinson actually has been consistent, at least for his position, that I trust TJ Hawkinson. Am I at a point where I trust Brenton Strange?
No, we don't trust. We don't have enough. We don't have enough evidence.
I'll be really pissed off. I'll be really mad Monday morning if Hawkinson goes off and I played Strange. If I played Hawkinson and Strange does what he did again, I personally could live with that a little more. That's my personal take if it was my roster.
There is magical.
Hopefully that helps. Probably doesn't.
No, I think it does. I think it does. But certainly Darnold. I wouldn't.
I think that's overthinking. Yeah,
not in this spot. Not in this spot. If this was a different game, playing obviously a different team, then we might have a better argument for Matt.
Plus, they'll run the football against the Jets too, man. I mean, we just saw who Jacksonville, Etienne, and Bigsby just carved them up. You don't think McVay's going to give Kyron another 35 carries?
Yeah, he has absolutely no regard for the man's lower extremities.
I mean, I would not be shocked to see them, to see Kyron have, 22, 23 carries again. So, Hey, this one right here.
This is a good one.
Hey, it's
No, we've got a bunch of first and second rounders in this one.
Well,
No,
Chuba's about a 12th rounder, but playing like a first. I tried to tell y'all to draft Chuba Hubbard.
We do. I mean, you have. So take 3. Out of these dudes,
it's
who
crazy.
are you sitting? Who are you going to sit out of these 3? Out of these 4?
If I'm trusting the process of what these guys have done and what I expect this week and the matchup and everything else, like the sit out of these 4, dude, is Mixon.
Mixon.
And what's crazy is they could all be top 12 running backs. Like I have Mixon still right at like 12 or 13. So it's not like I have him far away, but Chuba, I know Chuba disappointed last week. This is a good matchup. He should have a good week. And same with Taylor and Cook.
He has
those are the 3 guys to play, but I understand Mixon got you here. He's great when he plays, but I don't see the Chiefs letting him have a monster game. I would not be shocked if he's the 4th lowest score of these 4 guys. But again, he top 12, top 15 being the 4th lowest score of this group. We're not talking about, this isn't your Coker McMillan question. This is RB1, borderline RB2 finishes, probably no matter what for all 4 of these guys, right? At least expectation.
So Joe Mixon hasn't fared well against the Chiefs. On the ground, I should say. He has caught a touchdown against them in the passing. And, he has received one.
Not the matchup you want for Joe Mixon in week
6. It's not a good matchup on the ground versus the Chiefs for Joe Mixon. But yeah, I get it. I get it also. Like,
And who do you sit? If the take is I have to get Mixon in my lineup, right? If I'm the owner of this team, if I'm Joe and I'm like, I hear what you're saying, guys, but I have to play Mixon. Like, who do you sit of those 3 guys? That's where I'm like, I don't even know, like, Taylor?
No, probably
Chuba because his name?
Probably James Cook.
In a game where they should just run the football and he's
but like everyone else is running the ball there too. I mean, we know James Cook has like he has the upside. He has the explosive playmaking ability. We know that, but yet they seem very content on passing it to Ty Johnson. They seem very content to get Ray Davis on the ground, Josh Allen on the ground. Yes, could James Cook be the dude this week? Of course he can.
Should be a James Conner game like he had last week against the Patriots for James Cook. I mean, but I think I agree with you. I guess because of what Buffalo can do offensively and what Carolina and Indianapolis doesn't have behind Chuba and Taylor, if I'm forcing Mixon in, then yeah, if that's what you want to know as well, like I would sit Mixon as hard as it is, but if I'm forcing Mixon in, I guess I'm telling myself that Cook's the sit, but I don't know, but I can't do that.
You may hear. Joe,
I mean, here's
you may hear Joe Goat. You may hear from others say, "Man, that's a tough."
So just here's James Cook.
And I can't stand that expression. Oh, that's a tough problem to have. Oh, what a great roster. Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, I know it's a great roster. I know it's a tough problem to have. Well, now, what does that mean?
Yeah, and sometimes that sucks,
You still got to pick the right player here.
So also, James Cook, running back 10 on the season, running back 2, running back 7, running back 9, running back 11, 4 of the last 5 weeks. The one he wasn't 2 weeks ago, he was running back 38. That was against the Rams where it was just a Josh Allen, like this dude has been very good all season long, Siegs, and has had 4 top 10 finishes in the last 5 weeks.
I know.
So back to the point, it's Mixon, but if you have to force him in, then tell yourself whatever story you got to tell yourself to sit one of those three guys.
I was thinking it goes along with something that I was thinking about earlier. It's more like it's on the theme of like you got to start your studs. You can't, you have to play your studs. You have to play your studs. And then, but when does it get to the point, right? It gets to the point where, okay, you played your studs, you started your studs, and like the guy on your bench wound up scoring more points than the actual stud. Now, again, I don't know if there's any good data to suggest when or when not to, bench the stud. And in this case, obviously, we're talking a little bit differently because we are talking about 4 really good, highly ranked, productive running backs that have had a good 2024 season. And all we've got right now is the fact of for, I don't know, let's say 14 games or 13 games, because Mixon did miss a couple, for 12 to 13 games, Joe Mixon has done really well. But on the other hand, we also know that the Chiefs have really held him at bay for basically his career, which started in 2017, I believe. But they don't play every year, obviously. Yeah, Chuba, who's not really the big household name, has become one playing against the Cardinals. And you've got James Cook, who's not Dalvin Cook, who is on an offense that could very well just like allow him to go off, whether it's rain, sleet, snow, because we saw it. We've seen it in all facets of the environment. And then there's JT. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, Joe Goat. He may not want to sit Nixon because it's his first name.
I mean,
don't do that either. Don't do that.
You could argue that. Yeah, you could argue the sit could be Taylor here based on year long and just the Colts inept offense at times with Richardson. But I think that he just gets too much work. Plus Taylor, he doesn't fumble the football last week, and it's a lovely week for him. He was money outside of that. And quick message: I know all the NFL guys watching our show here. Hold the damn football until you get into the end zone. Can we stop seeing dudes drop the football, dude, at the goal line? Is that like – I hope they watched the Charger game last night. You saw Gus Edwards as he goes in. He clutches the ball up just in case somebody's behind him. You saw Hassan Haskins hold it all the way to the end of the end zone. What is it with letting go of the ball at the goal line? I got it. I don't get it, bro.
It's something that's going to have to be done more at like the collegiate level. Like when they've declared for the NFL draft, when they've declared that they are inbound NFL rookies, that's something that maybe you like press into their heads at like the Senior Bowl or something, or at the Combine. Look, no more of this bullshit. So Malachi Corley does it. I understand the 22-year-old. With his first touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, I don't understand.
What are you doing, dude? That's unacceptable, man. I mean, maybe, we talked about putting a chip in the ball, right, for like first downs. Maybe we could put like something in the ball that when it crosses the plane, it like tases the guy, so they know, and then they'll drop the ball, but it's already a touchdown.
Which Buckeye wide receiver do you want to start for the Farksome? What's up?
Well, Farquad.
What's up, Farksome? Of course,
The resurgence of Devontae Adams. Talking about a tale of two halves, right? It was Garrett Wilson in the first half, and then it was all Devontae and more Devontae and more Devontae in the second half. There's enough for both those guys to eat, right? They both get targeted, but JSN, I mean, it's kind of on the Metcalf thing. They're running everything through JSN, and so I think
they also have an annoyed 3-year wide receiver in Garrett Wilson, who's not who was vocal, actually. He was vocal with, I think, the wide receiver coach on the sidelines. Like, look, you called the wrong play. I'm wide open in this play. Now we can argue, debate whether or not he should be that vocal to a head coach, to any coach for that matter. Nevertheless, this is one of their like prized employees, I should say. So I think that you do have a little bit of a squeaky wheel here. Now JSN, God bless him. God bless him. He's arrived. He's arrived.
Is there an issue with, so last week Jason did have 12 targets, but I think we had talked about this before too. Before that week, he was just catching everything thrown his way. He was like 5 targets, 6 targets, where Wilson is almost like at like 9 a game, no matter what. So there's like a little part of me that's like, if they ease off of JSN just a little bit
to DK,
you know, to a receiver that they should be throwing the ball to, it should be a little more even. And Garrett gets his normal workload or even more. How bad is that weather for the Jets and Rams?
It's I don't think it's necessarily going to be blizzard storm type of deal, but I think it's cold. It's definitely cold, and it's definitely it's wintry. It's wintry, cold, gloomy. It possibly flurry or possible like ice rains type of deal. It's northeast shitty weather. It's shitty weather. It's not Buffalo type of deal. It's not that type of weather, but it's shitty. It's shitty elements for a team that's coming from a warm weather dome. I'll say that.
So he should still be involved. I mean, in both matchups. I mean, when you look at,
but let me ask you this here though. The question here, this is to start. I'm going to presume, right? Start one of these dudes, or is this like who am I keeping? Like, no, this is to start. Because he says,
this is to start. This is to start. I think it's in that either maybe super flex spot. But so when you look at matchups for wide receivers, right? And like, so I love talking about schedule adjusted. You know that, which is different than just points allowed, right? Schedule adjusted is points above the expected amount, right? Like, so what teams do above or below what the expectation is. Because to me, that's more conducive to who to play over just total points allowed, because it looks at the matchup, it looks at the expectation, it doesn't just look at one great week, right? The Vikings are the best matchup for wide receivers. So, both guys should eat. But Seattle's offensive line is awful. That will they have enough time? And the Rams are, I think, the 5th or 6th best matchup. So it's a tough question, man. I have JSN above Garrett Wilson, but a lot of me likes Garrett Wilson more this week. Just because he's guaranteed. Like I said, JSN was not getting all those targets. He was just catching everything thrown his way. Does that keep happening?
Dude, they're like back to back in the rankings. They're back to back.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope this isn't one of your standard leagues either. I mean, I'm thinking this is PPR. Let me check that. No, he doesn't even tell us. It's probably standard wide receiver league.
I mean, it's Dynasty Superflex, so it's probably PPR. I mean,
nevertheless.
So who are you going? Are you playing Wilson or are you playing JSN?
I would probably still go with Garrett. Very closely, though. As you were alluding to before, I mean, like, yeah, they're both eating. Rodgers is looking for both of them. He's still getting a nice amount of targets, and I think there is a squeaky wheel type of deal going on here, where they're gonna want to try to make him happy and get him in for the 6.
And like we've been talking about, I know we're sitting DK on a lot of these questions, but like, you got to think that it levels out a little bit. Is JSN going to see 12 targets again, or is he going to go back to
market correction? Yeah.
Or is he going to go back to the 6 he's been getting? And if it's JSN getting 6 targets and it's Garrett Wilson getting 9, I think I'm going to go Garrett Wilson. And so, yeah, I'm it's so close. I'm going Garrett Wilson, though.
Hey, Malik Willis played pretty well in his couple of starts, his start and a half, whatever you want to call it. He looked pretty good. DTR, watch what happens. And I can't even take credit for it. I didn't think of it, but I'm going to echo the sentiments because I could see it happening. I agree with it. DTR is going to play like a quarter. He's going to look that bad, and they're going to put James back in. This is almost like a benching. Like not just a benching, more like a punishment. Like, come on, man. You can't turn the ball over.
Right, like Jake Haener playing the first half, and then they put Spencer Rattler in because no matter how bad Spencer Rattler is, Jake Haener should have never been out there to begin with.
No, not at all.
Spencer Rattler still outscored like Kyler, Brock Purdy, and a handful of other studs in one half of football, and that hurts. You know what I mean?
What up, Solo Goat? Solo Goat.
I bet he thinks the Ravens are going to win.
Solo Goat in the semifinals. All the goats playing. Sleeper.
Mel has a question on her.
Let me tell you something about the sniper. She divorced me. She went to Atlanta for like a work function, a gala, and then she went to go marry Ray McLeod while she was there. She divorced me.
Ray McLeod.
Yeah, her fave, one of her faves, Ray. Bet you Ray is in the Warrior Bowl with Sniper, right? I think Ray's.
Ray is on her. Yeah, Ray is on her roster, and so she's looked.
She sends everybody her rosters because it can't attach here to YouTube, which thankfully that's the case. But nevertheless, we take them in our DMs, and that's okay.
DMs are open for questions 24/7, man.
Yeah.
Send them away, please, anytime. She's got Brenton Strange on the bench, and that's probably the only question mark that could go in her lineup. I mean, she's got Tucker Kraft, Romeo Dobbs, Pacheco. I mean, we talked about playing Strange over Kraft. That might be the only change I make, but I know that that's blasphemy because Tucker Kraft plays for the Packers. So if you can't let go of that, cool. But other than that, Mel, it looks good. I mean, I'm not mad at Strange over Kraft, but if you want to roll with the homies, that's cool too.
On that roster, though, there are two flex positions and the super flex. So you could do Kraft at tight end, and you could do Brenton Strange in one of the other flexes. Technically,
yeah, but you'd have to sit.
Yeah, who are you sitting?
You'd have to sit Aaron Rodgers or
you
could move, but you or Najee. Probably because you would move Pacheco to your other running back to go with Henry, and you could sit Najee. But I mean, are you sitting Najee over Strange? I wouldn't be surprised if he outscores him. But are you sitting the starting running back for?
You want to talk about blasphemous? She won't even sit Najee because of his last name, let alone.
Yeah, there you go. Najee needs to come to the Chargers. Here's the package deal the Chargers need to make. Najee Harris and T. Higgins in the offseason come to L.A.
Can't wait.
Anyway, I digress.
Oh, you could again. Worst case, I would. Najee Harris playing against the Ravens rush defense. I mean, he didn't have a good game last week, did he? Who the hell did they play last week? Oh, the Eagles. No, the Eagles. The Eagles put the clamps on.
Yeah, but if Najee didn't fumble on that drive, they might have gone down and tied the game up, possibly. I mean, obviously that's all just speculation, but they were moving down one touchdown and Najee fumbled, and then that was it. So
also the Warrior Bowl is 10 in premium. I mean, it's kind of like a slight RB premium as well. So it's I don't know if I would really want to sit Najee. Nevertheless, you could
sit Romeo Dobbs off his touchdown.
I think that's the sit. How many weeks is he going to do?
Play Kraft and Strange and sit Dobbs.
Because it's always a crapshoot. It's really a crapshoot with Tucker Kraft as well. It's a crapshoot between all of them.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Dobbs, five targets last week. He just found the end zone twice. So I mean, you're looking at those 2 touchdowns.
Not only, and last time that we tried to make a tight end recommendation for the sniper, not only was it Will Disley, but then that's what really sealed the deal for her to take off to Atlanta to marry Ray McLeod.
Yeah. So hey Mel, I mean, you want to roll with the Packers, go for it. I wouldn't be mad at trying to make that risky play over Dobbs. I wouldn't. I mean, with tight end premium, why not? But yeah, thoughts on this? I'm gonna sit Stroud and play Rush. Cousteau hockey. I like it. I have. Hey, Cooper Rush has been fine. I mean, he's playing the Bucks, who are a dream matchup, right? And Stroud has the Chiefs. And your favorite Siegs, you should have the numbers right there. Stroud on the road outside.
No good.
He's done nothing to show us that he will be good. I mean, this is back to kind of the theme of this week is like, yeah, Stroud has the name. You think he's got some guys. He's got Nico there. He's got Tank. He's got Mixon. Like, I just don't see it, though. Rush, look at what he did last week, right? I mean, he threw some beautiful balls, the touchdowns. He kept him in that Bengals game. For me, the matchup with Tampa Bay, I have no issue with playing Stroud over Rush. And exactly, grit your teeth, hold on tight, and plus the Bucks are going to score. The Bucks, they just put up 40 on the Chargers. The Cowboys are going to have to throw the football 40 times.
Look, I have no problems with this.
I don't even think it's that big of a discussion. Give me Cooper Rush, baby. I love it. Let's go.
Let's go. Good shit. Hey, guys, if you were just joining us here for Week 16 lineup advice, semifinal lineup advice show, please give us a like. Please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. We will be back tomorrow as well. We will be back. I want to say 8 o'clock, but you never know if that game goes a little over, maybe a little under. So we're just going to set it at 8. We'll see how it goes. Factor, 8-ish. We will be back for the Start Sit show for the semifinals for you goats. Yeah. That takes you for the Sunday slate. Only 2 games tomorrow. Then next week is really, really wacky. Well, not
3
really.
3 games on Wednesday, a game on Thursday, 2 games on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday, 3 on Saturday.
The regular Thursday, right? It's a little wacky. It's a little holiday wackiness. Tyson, GOAT. Start 1. Tyrone, Jerome, Etienne, JT. Right, JT, or Ramadre, full PPR. 1 out of these dudes, huh? As much as I like Tyrone, still got Devin Singletary that's been taking some snaps away from him. As much as we like Tyrone, that's Jonathan Taylor, right? Taylor Jr., JT.
That's Jonathan Taylor. It has to be.
So we're gonna start Jonathan Taylor here.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Play JT and then live with the results.
Yeah, we're gonna start JT here. Again, as much as I look, Ford's in a good spot. Tracy's kind of in a good spot, but not. He gets a boost with Drew Luck coming back, but it's not great. And we don't like Ramondre Stevenson against the Bills, no, and that leaves us with Jonathan Taylor. Go with the dude that you drafted in the first round or the second round, or who you traded for. Not that that's always a great reason to do it, but he's the best talent right now out of all these guys.
Yeah, there's, like I said, there's a world where Ford has a big day in the PPR department if they're getting blown out by Cincinnati with DTR there, but like I'm not banking on that over what the consistency of Jonathan Taylor is. I mean, 100 yards. Should get in the end zone. So, yeah, I'm not overthinking that. I'm rolling Taylor.
Lonely Big Stone or Goat. PPR, we're going to start 2 here. We're going to do either Tajay. We're going to do either Kendre. Oh, wait a minute. Patrick Taylor Jr. was the one here. Remember I kept asking you and looked out of place?
Yeah, so this is start 2 out of all these guys, or just start 2 and then one of the tight ends?
Wait a minute, SoCal. Patrick Taylor. That's who this is.
Oh, Patrick Taylor. Okay. So then Jerome Ford, I believe, would probably be my answer.
That's why I was like, wait a minute, something's out of place here. It's probably, if that is in fact Patrick Taylor, we would probably go to, I guess, Jerome. I guess it would be. I'm
gonna chase the team that should be playing from behind, right? I mean,
I think it would be Jerome Ford or Tyrone here. I'm
not playing Tracy unless I absolutely have to.
If that's not Patrick Taylor, and if it's actually Jonathan Taylor, now that we've uncovered that there is a Patrick Taylor in existence,
we forgot about Patrick Taylor because we don't recommending Patrick Taylor
in existence. That's right.
But on this one, is this 2 total, or is the tight end separate? I mean, it sounds like they're all lumped in together.
Well, take two RBs here, and then it's either JMO or Scary Terry. Then it's Tucker Craycraft or Bretton Strange.
Okay. So
take two running backs. Let's do that first.
Right now, it's Kendre and Brian Robinson, right? I mean, I know they're playing the Eagles, but let me see. Hold on.
It would be Kendre and it would be Brian Robinson Jr. if Tony Pollard is playing.
Yeah, if Pollard's out, then I would be fine with sitting Robinson and playing Spears because the matchup.
Correct. I could take the wide receivers right away. It's Scary Terry.
Yeah,
I know the Eagles are tough matchup, but I mean he's basically their only wide receiver.
And I'm going to say this too. Last time they played, it was a big spot for Jaden Daniels. The ribs were not what they are now. He was not running. He was hurt. He played that game hurt, and he did not run. And that's a part of his game. I think we see Jaden Daniels running a lot more in this matchup. And I think we see McLaurin used the way he's been used the last few weeks, which he wasn't used in that first game. I think Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin have a fine game. I think we are possibly feeding into that first matchup a little too much, I'm not sitting Jaden Daniels in most cases, and I'm not sitting McLaurin. You got to roll with them. And we've been saying Strange over Kraft all night, so I guess we're going to keep saying that.
Yeah. We're going to continue to roll there. Sniper's laughing at me. What else is new? Farquaad's not laughing at me. And we got this go. Drake May, Gino, or Cooper Rush. Yeah, look at the Cooper Rush questions. You got to like that. Cooper Rush has actually played himself into like a decent backup quarterback. It wasn't just a fluke in 2022. It wasn't a fluke. He's actually done pretty well. CeeDee Lamb has done pretty well.
Yeah, and their offensive line is not what it was back then, which makes it a little more difficult, and I'm not giving him or Dak a pass, but their O-line in recent years was much better. This year it's not good. But I think Cooper Rush has kind of adapted to what he has to work with and understands that. And so he's learning what to do to, compensate for not having that same line he had, 2 years ago that kept him upright. And he's making it work, He's rolling out. He's making good throws. I'm not playing Drake May against the Bills. And Gino and that Seattle offense has not been good. Minnesota, Brian Flores, the blitz, that O-line, no thank you.
Gino's good for maybe a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm going Cooper Rush.
and we're trying to decide whether it should be DK that gets that touchdown or whether it's going to be JSN that gets that touchdown or if it's going to be a fluky tight end that gets that touchdown or if it's one of the running backs that gets it. Nevertheless, it's at least one. Yeah, for me, it would be either Drake May or Cooper Rush. I think we can make a good case for Cooper Rush to start again. I think we could. I think Cooper Rush could get you to if you could live with 16 to 19 points out of the quarterback. If you could live with that, Drake May is not going to get you any better than that. And that's with his rushing. And Geno's certainly not going to get you better than that.
Yeah. There it is. I like Rush, so.
Okay, Sniper.
Nice.
So who are you going to marry there? Who knows? Who knows? SoCal Mr. Businessman over there starts AI.
Stats. No AI over here. Although I probably should utilize AI more than I do to make like research and everything easier, but I'm like an old school guy that looks up the stats, writes stuff down. Like I probably should use AI more because it would make my life a lot easier, but I'm like so wired the way I look up things and research things that I just haven't got on that train.
Yeah, don't change, please. Don't change. I use Chat GPT for like everything else, non-fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, it was
freaking awesome for that.
It would only be, I would only use it to speed up the process of the stuff I like to look at. That's all I would use it for. I would not use it for the recommendations or whatnot. I would only use it to get my information faster because I probably can, and that kind of makes sense. But I'm old school, man. I got a pops that grew up playing fantasy sports where they wrote everything down, bro. Got file cabinets full of stats, like that's just it's how we roll around here.
What's your question, Tyler Goat? Before I get Chris Boswell, Kamini Fairbairn, or Chase McLaughlin. Which dude is playing indoors? Are any of them playing indoors? The Bucks are playing.
McLaughlin's at Dallas. Fairbairn is at KC. Boswell's at Baltimore. So it's McLaughlin for me. Plus, I will say this. So I last week in one of my leagues, I had McLaughlin in. And on Sunday morning, I saw that Fairbairn was available, and I was like, oh, man, I like the matchup better. Like, I liked McLaughlin against the Chargers, but, like, I didn't expect him to have 4 field goals, 4 extra points. Fairbairn was playing the Dolphins. Like, the matchup was there for Fairbairn. I played Fairbairn. I sat McLaughlin. McLaughlin outscored Fairbairn by 9. I lost by 8.5.
That's the way it works, though.
So, I mean, live and learn, but McLaughlin's been really good. It's at Dallas. Like, that offense is too good. I would take
the indoor. You want the kick. At least I want the kicker that's indoors at this time.
And the high-powered offense.
Like, in a better offense. That's correct.
You got an AFC North game and a Houston Chiefs game in Kansas City. Could that lead to stops and field goal attempts? Yeah, of course. I mean, Boswell has been great, but like I'm going to chase the high-powered offense indoors of McLaughlin for sure.
Yeah. Tyler Goat is adding Tajay Spears to the Kendre and Pacheco question from earlier. So does this change anything? It really doesn't change anything, Goat, because we're not sure about the status of Tony Pollard. If Tony Pollard is out, I would probably take him over Pacheco. I think I would take him over Kendre Miller also. It's not the best spot for Kendre Miller.
I think being on the road in Green Bay, if Pollard is out and that Spears' backfield with how they use Tony Pollard, I think you pretty much put Spears right where you have Pollard ranked right now. Like, it doesn't change much for me, and that's ahead of Kendre Miller. So, give me Spears if he's ruled out.
Martin Goat, how are you? Welcome to the Fantasy Goats Week 16 lineup advice show. In the last flex spot, are we rolling with K9 or Jerome Jarius Ford? In the last flex spot, I love Kenny Skywalker. I do. I love him. I like Jarius also.
Yeah, this is a K9 channel for sure. Between
it is a K9 channel. We are K9 fans, and this guy, he's gonna be a thorn on my side. I want Zach Charbonnet to start.
The problem is he has a Zach Charbonnet and coming off an injury and a tough matchup, and Jerome Ford has the world to himself. And like I said, a game where he should get targeted heavily from DTR in a game where they need to keep pace and play from behind. I did not expect to say start Jerome Ford over Kenneth Walker week 16 a couple months ago, but I think Jerome Ford is the call right there, dude. And if Walker plays and he gets the 15, 17 touches and has a great game, cool. But against Minnesota, not a great spot, and not with what Charbonnet's done. Why? If you're Seattle, why are you going to even do that? You're going to mix him in. You're going to use both guys. It's a tough game. Minnesota's a good defense.
It's a tall order.
I think you're chasing the backfield of Jerome Ford by himself and the fact that they should need to utilize him in all forms of the game. So I'll go Ford.
What's up, Derek Buck Goat? Another semifinal, almost championship goat. Even if you happen to lose, Derek Buck Goat, still absolute mother effing goat. Pick 2 for the Derek Goat. He's got Tyrone. He's got Kendre. It's not Patrick Taylor. Again, I need to see this with my eyes to see that Patrick Taylor is going to have over 100 yards. All right, let's not 80 to 100 yards and a touchdown on no less than 15 touches for me to see that any running back, anyone, including the Wolf here, SoCal, can run in the Shanahan zone scheme.
Yeah, we've determined that it's Kendre over Tracy, over Taylor, over Abdullah. No problem. So I think it's Kendre, and then it's probably got to be Marv. I mean,
let's go, Derek. Go
we're
Buck.
Down on Marv, but Kincaid's the other option against New England.
Yeah. Well, I mean, out of all these options, and Dalton Kincaid is being put into the mix, that would indicate to me that Dalton Kincaid's being considered for a flex spot. And
yeah,
I'm not going to do that when you have some of these other dudes here, like Harrison Jr.
Yeah, are you playing
like Tyrone?
Yeah, I mean, are you playing Kincaid over those guys? I think that it's. It's.
If you have Kincaid on the roster, Bucko, then we need to decide on whether he should be starting in your tight end spot. But I'm not going to put him. He probably does. He probably does. But I'm not going to put the tight end position into a flex spot.
Yeah, I think it's Kendre and Marv with Tracy right behind them.
You've got too much upside possibilities here between the other dudes. Let's try to get to the rest of the goats here, Wolf. Before
so we're Kendre and Marv, right? Are we Kendre and Marv, or are you Kendre and Tracy?
I would be Kendre and Marv.
All right, next.
Definitely Marv. Next is Gage Edwards. Gage Goat. Isaiah Pacheco versus the Texans or Abdullah versus the Jaguars. I think the wolf here is Abdullah. I may lean a little bit of Abdullah. Talent-wise, hey, Wolfie the third, baby. Look at the Wolfie the third. What's going on? Yeah. Pacheco versus the Texans.
I don't have bread.
We do.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have a peanut butter and jelly. Anyway, back to business.
Oh shit, that's great. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with the running back that's got the better possibility here. I think that's going to be. Oh man.
I don't know if I can pull the trigger on this one.
I have a hard time sitting Pacheco over Amir Abdullah. That's right.
Yeah, if he was by himself, maybe, but I think I'm going Pacheco here. Like I
agree. I agree. It's going to be
Pacheco. I'm playing Pacheco and just hoping he finds the end zone. I mean,
Tyler Goat, you're going to want to add Spears now anyway. Just add Spears. Make sure your opponent doesn't add Spears. Add him now, because if Tony Pollard is ruled out come early Sunday morning or even late tomorrow, you have Spears. Don't
add him now. Drop somebody. There's somebody. Drop somebody you're not going to play.
Don't even hesitate on that. What's up, Quincy Goat? Look at the goats. 2 wide, 1 flex. Jawan, man, Debo's been killing him. It's a blessing that the Quincy Goat is still playing right now. Debo's been killing him. We got Jalen, we got Thielen, we've got Kendre, we got Patrick Taylor, we've got Brenton Strange. 2 wide receiver. It would be for me. It's gonna be the Niner. It's gonna be Jawan.
Yeah, easily.
And I'm gonna go with Thielen for volume here. I think the dude that's going to get the most, he's going to get more targets than Jalen McMillan. From there, 1 flex. Well, 1 flex could technically take 3 wide receivers here if it's PPR. But if not,
you're not playing Debo and
we've done that before. We did not want to play that.
And I don't think you're playing McMillan over the volume that Kendre Miller should see.
Quincy Goat's got to be a Niner fan. He's got Patrick Taylor. He's got Debo. He's got Jawan.
You have Brandon Ayuk on IR?
He probably has Brandon Ayuk on IR. I wish I could remember that far back.
Is Kittle your starting tight end?
I wish I could remember that far back. Nevertheless, Jawan, Thielen, it's going to be Kendre is the third guy there, not Brenton Strange. Brenton Strange, you can put in your tight end spot unless there's somebody better. If not, we see you tomorrow. Quincy Goat. See you tomorrow. Me and Rhino will be back on tomorrow night. Again, around 8-ish. Following the conclusion of the Ravens-Steelers Saturday Night Football. Terry, Jawan, Keenan, Ridley, PPR. Pick two, Wolf, for Jonathan Goat.
Oh, man. I think you Terry and Jennings, right? I mean, I don't think, again, Jaden Daniels should be much better. He's off the rib injury. I expect him to run. I expect them to have a lot more success offensively. Terry's been too good. They're finding ways to use him across the middle of the field. Like, it's a different offense than that week was. And I get it. The Eagles defense has been good, but you cannot sit. Like, I cannot sit Terry McLaurin. And Jawan Jennings, bad week, but Purdy loves him. I mean, that game was bad all around.
Yep.
Keenan and Ridley are good plays for teams that need to, put somebody in there. But for you, you're playing Terry and Jennings, and we're trusting that they do what they've been doing most of the season. So
Quincy, we're gonna add Spears, but we can't play. I'm not going to play Tajay Spears if Tony Pollard's going to play.
If Pollard misses, we're putting Spears above Miller. Pollard's out for sure. Play Spears.
That's the only issue that most managers would have with it. Because again, yes, they would be in a timeshare still. If Tony Pollard's out, there's no timeshare. Ralph Goat, pick one for tomorrow's game: Isaiah Pacheco or Joe Mixon. One or the other. Holy smokes. Joe Mixon does not share the backfield practically with anyone. Isaiah Pacheco has been sharing the backfield with Kareem Hunt. Joe Mixon does not have a good matchup versus the Chiefs. Isaiah Pacheco doesn't have the greatest matchup versus the Texans, but it's at least a little bit better than what Mixon's is.
Maybe a little better matchup, but it's Mixon for me.
You're gonna go with Joe Mixon here, and you would temper your expectations. Hope that they could get him the ball through the air, because through the ground.
Yeah, that's the kicker right there. 6 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 4 targets, 4 targets, 6 targets. Like Mixon is used in the passing game, and Pacheco is sometimes targeted, but that's not his, they don't force him the ball in the passing game as much, and he's sharing the load. So it's, Pacheco could find the end zone and Mixon doesn't, and that makes Pacheco a better start at the end of the day, but it's Mixon for me easily.
That's a good one, man, Max. If he's out and Spears does start in the RB2, would you start Ford over Metcalf or Thielen? No, I don't think so. No, I wouldn't. I would want one of those two wide receivers. I would want one of those two wide receivers. I wouldn't want my line. I don't want my lineup as much as, again, it may not look that sexy. I wouldn't want the lineup to look like RB2 Tajay Spears, and then in the flex would be Jerome Ford. We're gonna want a wide receiver. We want to do that at least has the potential to A, definitely get more targets. B, is going to get you probably more PPR than the running back. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It all depends. A lot of that's going to be predicated on whether or not Pollard is going to play or not. That's what that is.
Yeah, I would be okay with playing Ford and Spears there. You'd have the two guys with the backfield to themselves.
All right, guys. Goats. Going to try to work my way from the bottom. I don't know if that's a good idea. Trone, baby. What's up, Trone, baby? Trone Goat and Joko with DTR at Green Bay or Brenton Strange. I don't know if Njoku's going to play.
I think he's good to go, no?
Every week, it's the same thing with him. Every week. Trone Goat. And Njoku's not a very good play with DTR anyway, even if he does play.
I will say last time DTR played, Njoku had 15 targets. If that means anything. I don't know how good the targets are going to be, but...
Look at her slamming me. She's like throwing it right in my face. I have Pacheco. Where is that? Where is the other one? Oh yeah, here, this one. To the unbelievable biased towards Ohio State wide receivers. That's what it is. Unbelievable biased.
Yeah, he's not.
For her, for JSN and for Garrett Wilson. She thinks they're both overrated. Never will he be in my lineup again. See what I'm talking about, Wolf?
I see.
Let's take a few more goats. Again, we will be back tomorrow night, immediately following the Ravens-Steelers game. If you're new to this channel, A, appreciate you being here. B, please like the stream. Please subscribe. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, appreciate all the people that just keep popping in, man, firing away questions. I'd love to sit here all night and keep firing away. But, yeah, the boys will be back. The boys will be back. And, hey, the DMs are open as well. So, I mean, feel free.
The Wolf is in this with the Shepard for the long haul. And I couldn't be I couldn't be more appreciative, blessed to actually call this gentleman that I call Wolf. That's really just that just out of like me. That's like fondness. Like I call him like my wolf. Couldn't be more appreciative of this man being here with me. Couldn't be equally appreciative for all of you goats that have made this channel a success, that have actually allowed it to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like to, I guess, come to fruition, or no, that's not the right word. That's not the right word. Fruition. That have allowed it to flourish. Flourish. That's the right word. Flourish. You goats have allowed it to flourish. Couldn't thank you enough. Despite my ex-wife, trying to give us some slack. Couldn't appreciate.
All right, let's knock through. Let's get through a few of these here. I know we got some new people in here. Hey, shout out Caden in the chat, new viewer. Appreciate you, man. Make sure to like, subscribe. Anybody else that's new for the first time too, man, welcome. Appreciate you being on.
Love it.
Let's knock a few of these out. But hey, Caden announcing new viewer, so I'm just going to say full PPR flex. Marvin Harrison, Kendre Miller, Jalen McMillan.
You looking?
I went down a while.
I'm like, what?
There's a lot, man. People are just flooding in with them.
I know. That's why I keep saying we're going to be back.
I'm going Kendre Miller, though. Over, I got Kendre, Marv, Jalen McMillan. That's the order I have them. I'm going to take the touches and the volume for Kendre. Marvin's a few spots lower for me.
So what about this? Are you looking at this one right here? Who should I flex? Tracy, Pat, Taylor, Kenjay, Amare? Where are they? Do you see that?
No,
one?
I'm looking at Caden, which is down. I don't know, but it's
what the fuck?
It's Marv, Kendre, or Jalen. I just wanted to hit him up because you mentioned being a new viewer. So
are we on the? Oh, I that's awesome.
We can go back in order now. I didn't mean to skip over anybody, but
I'm just on the. I have a different person highlighted. That's all. I have a different goat highlighted. Forgive me, goats.
So
the Shepard sometimes is off.
Tracy, Taylor, Kendre, Amari. No, you're good. I went down a little bit because I was just seeing what was in there. You're good, man. Anytime you're a new viewer and you announce it, you get your question asked. Answer
that's great. I love that. Need to shadow wizard. So, but this Nahil Najjar, I have highlighted here. This banner.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's. It's. He's thinking Tracy or Taylor, but we both have Kendre over those two guys, and I can't trust Amari or Worthy or probably a Dunze. It's Kendre Miller for me again. Kendre Miller better have a good week, man, because we got a lot of Kendre Miller going on here.
Again, he could very well have a good week, but I kind of wanted to set the table in terms of like why he may not have a good week. I know
we're going volume, opportunity, backfield, and hopefully a lot of PPR points, even if they're not pretty. That's the thing that we're going.
I don't know.
Here.
Does this dude and does this team have like that type of like that bravado, that moxie to just go into freaking Green Bay like December 20-something and like all of a sudden just like smash mouth football them to like into submission? That's my problem there.
We're hoping that he just gets we're hoping he has 8 catches for hopefully for a lot of yards, but even if it's 8 catches for 32
That's why,
yards. I mean, it's 11 points in the PPR game, and we're talking about guys like Tyrone Tracy, Patrick Taylor, Amari Cooper. We're not saying that we're putting him into, upper echelon RB. We're talking about
that's why I kind of wanted to just like at least set that baseline there.
Yeah,
like,
I think
our
that's
floor.
been set, yeah.
Our floor is our floor could be really bad. Nevertheless, Jeremy Goat, 4-point touchdowns. 4-point touchdowns. Which one of these dudes has the capability of adding one with his legs? SoCal earlier thought that maybe Brock Purdy could run one in. I think Penix actually could vulture a touchdown this week, which would be his lone touchdown. Maybe he passes for one. We're going with Kyler Murray here, Jeremy.
Yeah, rookie quarterbacks like to use their legs. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Penix ran one in. That's definitely a possibility. Odds were good on Penix too. They're probably moving, but if you'd like Penix to score a touchdown.
No, here, but it's a 4-point passing.
Yeah, passing. I mean, yeah, but you still get 6 for the rushing. I mean, the upside of Kyler is always there. I think it's between Kyler and Love for me.
Because you could get triples out of Jordan Love.
Yeah, the problem is, Green Bay is going to probably run the ball down both these teams. Connor and Jacobs should be fed a ton against Carolina and New Orleans. So I'm going to I'm going to go Kyler.
I'm going Kyler. All right, guys. Apologize if we didn't get to all of your questions. I know that some of you are new. You are free to DM either one of us at any time. My DM is on X. Or you could leave hey, how about this? Leave comments. You could leave your question here on the channel. We will answer every single one of them. That's number one. Number two, if you wanted to, you could DM at Seagull13. You could DM at SoCal Ball Nerd. We will answer all of your questions. If your questions do not involve any of the players going tomorrow, so that would be the Texans, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Steelers, come back tomorrow night around 8 o'clock. Start sit. We will be here. All right, guys. SoCal, do you want to leave us with anything?
Hey, if we missed anything that is for tomorrow, especially, please, shoot a DM. I will get back to you before the night is over.
If it's critically for tomorrow, yeah, the Joe Mixons and the Pachecos and Hollywood
even the
Brown.
Other ones. Send the other ones away. But if it's tomorrow, I definitely will make sure I get back to you tonight to get you an answer. And then I will say too, come back tomorrow night, and also I'll do a little plug here for Fantasy Football Advice Network, because I'm going to hop over there tonight. If you want to jump on here in
fantastic
50 minutes, I will be doing more start sit for an hour.
What an absolute machine
with Fantasy Football Advice Network. So on YouTube, Fantasy Football Advice Network, myself, Dustin Lupke, I think Chase and Tyler will be on talking for an hour. So
say hello to Dustin for me.
I will, man. Yeah, I'm excited to go on with Dustin, man. He's a good dude. We know that. And so we'll be on there 7 to 8 West Coast time. So it's 10 after 6 right now. So if you want to get those answered there too, come on over to Fantasy Football Advice Network here in just under an hour. Join us there. Send the DMs. Hop back on this same channel tomorrow night. And yeah, man, let's advance to some championships, man. Appreciate it as always, man.
All right, Coach. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. We will see you back tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Enjoy the games tomorrow. They start at 1 o'clock, then 4:30. We will be back here to get you guys ready for the main
Saturday football. Let's go. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Woo! It's a good time in the NFL. Let's go.
It's like a glorious time of year.
It's like Hanukkah football, 8 games in 8 days or whatever,
All right, guys. Enjoy. Have a wonderful evening.